to be found anywhere in the world.
Order, order, order. That concludes matters on this subject, and we will now proceed to the 10-minute rule motion. I call Leah Nici.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and with your permission, I would just like to take this opportunity before I start reading out my bill of echoing Mr Speaker's condolences to his family and friends on the passing of Lord Patrick Cormac, 40 years in this place and also born in Great Grimsby, my constituency, so my condolences go to his family and friends. Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that leave be given to bring in the bill to require the Secretary of State to publish proposals for a scheme in which graduates of specified university courses may be exempt from requirements to repay a student loan in full or in part, provided that they are employed in the United Kingdom in a relevant sector for a minimum time period and for connected purposes. It is my belief that good quality legislation aimed at educational reforms should not only encourage higher levels of attainment in both education and skills, but also be designed to develop the workforce of the future. There have been numerous skills gap and skills mismatch reports over the past few years, and the path is clear for the need for us to review how higher education, in particular undergraduate and postgraduate funding policies, can ensure the government provides excellent public services in the UK that help to keep the country healthy and, in turn, improve productivity and grow the economy. Before I became an MP, I worked in further and higher education for 22 years, and I believe that I have an insight into what motivates students to study to degree level and beyond. In the current funding regime, it's my opinion that in too many cases it encourages people to study at degree level when it is not suited to the student's skills and abilities or their future career path. That is because we are now living with the effects of New Labour's higher education reforms and in particular how the student loan system works. The policy of increasing the percentage of people who go to university regardless of what they study has led to a huge growth in poor quality degrees that have little academic rigour, the loss of excellent vocational higher education courses such as HNDs that were directly relevant to the sectors they were aimed at, a graduate skills mismatch in the UK that is now so large we are importing thousands of graduates from abroad, meaning that other countries are losing their highly skilled population to the UK. In addition, if a UK graduate emigrates, then we lose any taxpayer benefit from funding their course or receiving their outstanding student fees. The Learning and Work Institute has indicated that the UK skills shortage will cost the country £120 billion by 2030, and there will be a shortfall of 2.5 million appropriately skilled workers in our economy. The annual cost to the Treasury to fund undergraduate and postgraduate courses in England alone is estimated at £20 billion a year. Graduates are only expected to start paying a proportion of their own tuition fees and maintenance grants, which is means tested, once they earn over an income threshold ranging from between £21,000 a year and £27,660 a year. We need a new student loan system that incentivises students to study the degrees we need, not the proliferation of degrees we currently have that do not give the country and individual any added value in which delays their entry into a productive career. Research from the IFS and Money Supermarket shows that UK student debt is currently over £100 billion and is projected to hit £1.2 trillion by 2049. Currently, only 27% of all graduates pay back their student loan in full, and 83% of graduates are projected to never pay back their student loan in full. In addition, the IFS estimate that 20% of students would have been better off if they hadn't gone to university at all, proving that their degree does not add value to their careers. The Open University's Business Barometer Report 2023 showed that despite having a larger graduate workforce than ever before, 83% of large organisations are facing a skills shortage in their workforce. Turning to the NHS as an example, 2023 data from the BMA suggests that 70% of doctors who train for employment in the NHS leave after completing their foundation years, a loss of £220,000 per student doctor, costing the taxpayer £146 million per annum. The government currently offers bursaries for doctors and dentists in their final years of their studies to help with tuition fees and living costs, but at this stage they are already earning a wage. I believe this is a back-to-front funding model. It doesn't help to recruit and maintain doctors and dentists within the NHS. We also have gaps in a wide range of other public sector services. Our local authorities have gaps in roles such as social workers, speech and language therapists and physiotherapists. My suggested solution is as follows. I am asking the Secretary of State to investigate the possibility of introducing what I am calling the British Grad Force Agreement. The model would be similar to the system that has worked well for decades under the armed forces, in which candidates can apply for scholarships and bursaries funded by their relevant armed force, on the understanding that they will then complete a minimum term in order to pay back the country in years of service and the investment that the taxpayer has made in them. If a candidate drops out or is removed before the end of this period, they generally are expected to pay back not only the bursary but also their training costs. The system benefits capable and committed students from more disadvantaged backgrounds, rewarding them with no debt in return for their public service. The government should use its existing published skills shortage research to create a public sector graduate skills shortage list so that public sector employers would accredit courses that are directly linked to their skills shortages in particular roles. Those courses would need to achieve the quality thresholds required by organisations such as the QAA and professional bodies. Then universities running these courses could apply for these courses to be accredited by the government, making them eligible for the British Grad Force Agreement funding policy. Students applying for and then starting to study on the relevant courses can opt to sign the Grad Force Agreement, in which they commit to completing their studies to the required employment standards and to work in that sector for a specified timescale as appropriate to their individual course. In return for that service commitment, the government could choose to write off the student loan fees up to a maximum amount over the specified length of service in that profession. We need a policy that incentivises students to choose the degrees that the country needs, and by differentiating their funding models with all other types of degree. I believe that these changes could be very positive to pivot the higher education sector. It could encourage students to choose those courses the country needs, reduce the debt burden of those students, be a better deal for the taxpayer, and help to improve growth and productivity. I hope the Secretary of State will be able to investigate the possibility of such a policy.
The question is that the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Who will prepare and bring in the bill?
Sally Ann Hart, Tom Hunt, Miriam Cates, Martin Vickers and myself, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Nici.
Higher Education, Student Finance and Skills Shortages Bill.
Second reading what day?
Friday the 19th of April.
Friday the 19th of April. Thank you.